My parents don't like you. They like my ex. At least he knew how to carry himself. That's what Natalie shouted, loud enough for the whole cafe to hear. My name is Evan Carter, and that was the moment I knew I'd already overstayed. We weren't even arguing. I had simply asked, why wasn't I invited to your family party? She didn't hesitate. No filter. No apology. Just pure humiliation like she wanted it to sting. I sat back in my chair and said the only thing I could say with dignity. I understand. She scoffed. Don't make this about you. It's just easier when you're not there. I paid the bill. She walked ahead of me like nothing had happened, already texting her sister about shoes and wine pairings. When we got back to her apartment, she was humming, packing her overnight bag, asking me to water her stupid fern while she was gone. I said sure. She left for the party, and I started packing. My things. My peace. My worth. In under 40 minutes, I had everything I came into this relationship with, and everything I lost slowly returned with each item I dropped into my bag. Before I left, I placed our framed photo, us in Charleston, on the kitchen counter. Taped to it was a single note. You can give this one to your parents. Maybe they'll like it too. And then I walked out. Quiet. Done. The apartment was still warm when I closed the door behind me. Not dramatic. Not rushed. Just quiet, like the place already knew I was done. I didn't block Natalie. Not yet. I wanted her to feel the absence before she heard it explained away. I drove across town and checked into a short-term rental I'd bookmarked months ago, back when things between us first started feeling uneven. I unpacked fast. Minimal. Clean. Everything I owned fit easily. That should have scared me. Instead, it felt honest. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A text from Natalie's cousin. Hey, random question. Why did you unfollow my mom, my dad, my sister, and basically the whole family? I didn't reply. Then another message came through. A photo this time. Natalie at the family party. Standing between her parents. And right next to her, smiling like he never left, was him. The ex. Wearing the same navy jacket I bought last winter. The one she borrowed because it smelled like me. I stared at the photo longer than I should have. Not because it hurt, but because it explained everything I'd been trying to excuse for months. I placed my phone face down. 2 hours later, I got the call. Evan? Her voice sounded light, carefree. The party's almost over. Can you pick me up? I looked around the quiet room. And my packed bag. My folded jacket. My calm reflection in the mirror. And for the first time all day, I smiled, because she had no idea what she was about to walk into. She walked into the apartment with her phone in one hand and a takeout box in the other, still laughing at something her cousin had said. That laugh died fast. The living room was stripped. No shoes by the door. No backpack on the hook. No jacket she loved to steal on cold mornings. Just one framed photo on the counter, and silence. Evan? She called out, suddenly still. She walked deeper in. Looked into the bedroom. Open closet. Empty drawers. Not even a note. Until she turned the photo over. You can give this one to your parents. Maybe they'll like it too. The silence snapped. She started calling me twice. Then 3 more times. Then a string of texts. Natalie, what is this? Where are you? Natalie, why would you just leave like this? Natalie, talk to me, Evan. Please. I didn't respond. Because just 2 hours earlier, she had told her parents, loud enough for me to hear on speaker, that she was so glad Bryce came. It felt like the old days. Now the old days were all she had. I spent the night at a quiet hotel, scrolling through job listings in another city. Something far. No. Detached from her family, her friends, and her shadows. That night I posted a story. Just a photo of a highway exit. Captioned, "When silence is your answer, movement is your voice." She viewed it 10 seconds later. And then the typing bubbles appeared. And vanished. She didn't text again until noon the next day. Natalie, I get that you're upset. But this is immature. You could have talked to me like an adult. Funny how silence suddenly gets labeled immature when it isn't under their control. I didn't reply. She followed it up with a voicemail, her voice now softer, more rehearsed. Evan, can we just talk? Please? You disappearing like this, what am I supposed to tell my parents? My friends? I sat on the hotel bed, staring out the window at a city I hadn't yet memorized. I hadn't told anyone where I was going. Not even my brother. That anonymity felt like oxygen. I replayed her message once. Then I opened my laptop and logged into the joint streaming account we once shared. She never changed the password. So I did. New name. New profile photo. Hers deleted. Then I opened the shared cloud album titled Us. And I removed every picture I took. Except one. The last photo I snapped of her, laughing, wine glass in hand, texting someone while I stood outside the frame. I left that one. Captioned it, "You were always looking past me." Later that evening she finally called from a new number. I answered. Said nothing. Just let her breathe into the line, waiting for me to break. But I didn't. And when I hung up, I didn't feel cold. I felt clean. 3 days of silence. Then a new message. But this time, it wasn't from Natalie. It was from her sister. "Hey, I don't want to get involved, but she's been a mess. Says you embarrassed her. Says you ghosted her for no reason." No reason. That's how it always gets rewritten, because admitting she detonated it means owning what came next. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the voicemail she left me, the one where she screamed, "My parents don't like you. They like my ex." No commentary. No explanation. Just proof. Her sister read it. Never replied. That same night, I changed the last thing I still shared with Natalie, the lease. Technically, the apartment was mine. She'd never gotten around to putting her name on it. Said it made her anxious to commit to things that weren't hers. So I ended the lease. Legally. Quietly. 30-day notice delivered through email and hard copy. Attached was one line. "You said I didn't belong in your world. So I left it to you." She tried calling again. 10 times. Each one went to voicemail. But when she showed up at the apartment and found the lease notice taped to the fridge, her screaming echoed through the building walls. The neighbors heard it. I didn't. Because I was already 2 states away, starting interviews for a job she once told me I wasn't confident enough to get. That confidence? It found me the minute she lost me. She didn't show up to the apartment again. Maybe because she knew I wouldn't be there. Maybe because reality had finally caught up. 2 days after the lease termination, I got a call from the leasing office. "Hi, Mr. Carter." Natalie stopped by. Said she wasn't aware the lease was ending. She seemed surprised. I thanked them for the update. Then told them to donate anything left behind. She wouldn't be needing it. That night, her mother emailed me. Yes, her mother. "Evan, I know things ended poorly. But Natalie's been very emotional. We never meant to disrespect you. You're a good man." She's realizing that now, too late. I didn't reply. Because they weren't sorry when they excluded me. They were sorry when it stopped working. I spent that weekend moving into a new apartment near my new job. The city felt unfamiliar, but it was mine. No shadow of her. No cousins' parties. No awkward introductions where I was tolerated, not embraced. Then at 2:13 a.m., a final message came through. "Natalie, I saw your post. The one from the highway. I get it now. I broke something I'll never find again. But if you ever wonder, yes, I still loved you. I just didn't know how." I stared at it for a long time. Then I did something I'd never done before. I archived the entire thread. Because the past didn't deserve a reply. Not when the future finally had my full attention. A month passed. No new messages. No new posts. Natalie vanished from social media like she'd never existed. Friends started asking if we were still together. Some already knew. Others were stunned. The ones who mattered didn't ask for details. They just said things like, "You look lighter." And I had moved into a new role at work. Bigger responsibilities. Longer hours. But for once, the grind didn't feel like an escape. It felt like growth. Then one evening, I got a message from someone I hadn't expected. "Bryce, the ex." She won't admit it, but I know now. I was just a placeholder. "You never left the room even when you left the city." I stared at his words. He wasn't gloating. He was unraveling. I didn't reply. What was there to say? That the person he tried to reclaim had already self-destructed? That I wasn't interested in being compared anymore? That peace doesn't come with an audience? Instead, I shut off my phone, opened my notebook, and started writing. Not about her. About me. The boy who once waited in silence for permission to be loved. The man who walked out when silence became the only answer. And the future that no longer carried her name in the fine print. Later that night, a package arrived at my new door. No return address. Inside it, the photo of us from Charleston. Torn in half. Frame. No note. No apology. Just her handwriting on the glass. "This time they preferred you." I stared at the broken frame for a long time. Half a memory boxed up like it still held power. But it didn't. Not anymore. I placed it gently in the trash. Not out of anger. Not for revenge. just to make space for the kind of peace that doesn't beg for recognition. That weekend I went hiking alone. No music. No calls. Just boots on earth and wind in my chest. Every mile I walked, I felt something loosening inside me, like an old thread finally snapping free. I stopped at the overlook, watching clouds crawl through the valley. Pulled out my phone and opened notes. Typed 3 words. I made it. Because I had. Out of her shadow. Out of their judgment. Out of the quiet desperation of waiting to be loved properly. That night, back at the apartment, I lit a candle and poured a glass of wine. And for the first time I sat in total silence, and didn't feel alone. There was no anger left to carry. No need to prove anything to anyone who once chose someone else over me. I had chosen myself. My future wasn't built on getting even. It was built on getting free. Natalie's final gift wasn't the half photo. It was the realization that I was never meant to be someone's safe option. I was meant to be my own home. And now, I was there.